And so the next year I came in and they made me part of the social club, and the college DJ.
And it just took off from there?
And it just took off from there. And the thing was, we rented the gear every weekend at £10 a time, $15 back then. And so I said to them, this is a bit silly that we're paying this money. Why don't we buy some gear? And that way we don't have to pay out the money. And they said, well, how much would it cost? And I said, I'd looked in the trades ahead of time. And I said, it'd be about £300 and we'd have our own gear. So in 30 weeks, it would be paid for. And they went, that makes sense. Can you buy it for us? And I said, yeah. So I said, I'm going to go down to London and I'll buy it and have it shipped up here. And so I went down to the end of our hill. We were on North Hinckley Hill. And there was the motorway going through, the freeway for all the Americans, the motorway going through. And I stood there and hitchhiked down to London. And I was there for about 10 minutes and this Mini Cooper S pulls up. This guy says, where are you going? I said, I'm going down to London. I'm going down just off Oxford Street to Tottenham Court Road to pick up. That's where all the electronic stores were. Yeah, to pick up some gear. And he goes, hop in. I'll drive you. I've got a store on Oxford Street. And so I jump in and he goes, so what's your name? I go, it's Richard. And he goes, I'm Richard too. And that's great.
But it wasn't Richard Blade then?
No, it's Richard Shepard.
Richard Shepard.
There you go.
Right.
And so we're driving down to London and he said, what do you do? I'm a DJ, And he goes, okay, great. He goes, I got this record store and everyone tries to sell their independent labels and local bands through my store because HMV won't and WH Smith's won't, but I will. And he said, and I figured I should buy like a little recording studio. And that way the bands could not only make the music, but then they could sell it in my store. And he said, but I can't afford anything in London. The prices are crazy. But up here in Oxford, there's a lot of places I can buy. I've looked at and I found this.
This is a random guy that you just gave you a ride into London.
Yeah, picked me up. But he said, I wanted to pick up a hitchhiker because I was so excited to tell him, I think I finally found a place. This was before cell phones or anything. And he was excited to tell someone that all these weeks and months of looking for a place, he'd found it. He goes, I found this farm that's great and I'm going to turn it into a recording studio and it's actually got enough rooms that people could stay there. And I said, that's great. And he goes, and I'm going to, be able to put some of the bands that want to make music there. Right. They could stay for the weekend and it's going to be fantastic.
Did this become something big?
Well, yeah, it did, kind of. You might have heard of the guy.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
So he was great. And he goes, this is my record store. He points to it. And he goes, but Tottenham Court Road's another mile and a half down. I'm going to drive you all the way there. And I go, oh, thank you, man. That's so nice of you. And so we drove past his record store, Virgin Records. And we went down to Tottenham Court Road. And
wait, did you just fly over the word Virgin Records?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, keep going. Yes.
So Richard drops me off and he goes, well, best of luck, man. And I go, best of luck with the farm. And so that was the start for Richard Branson. Yeah, I know.
Wait. This is a random hitchhiker he picked up was you?
Yeah. And so.
Are you still friends?
Well, not friends, but fast forward to 2005 and he was on Loveline. And Krista and I were driving back from the King's Head in Santa Monica.
I've done Loveline.
And I went, I should stop by and say hello. So I pulled off and went over to Culver City where they were doing Loveline from because they were doing it, I think it was on Premiere Networks.
Is this when you just started First Wave?
Yeah,
right.
I was just come back from the Caribbean and I wasn't with K-Rock or anything anymore. But I'd left on great terms with them. And I was friends with everyone, great friends with Drew and with Adam. So I thought, I'll pop in and, see if I can say hi to Richard Branson. So on the very first break, they go, yeah, God, come and say hi to Richard Branson. So he comes out, all long blonde hair and everything. I told him the story and he goes, I don't remember you, but I remember picking up a hitchhiker. So that was you. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I just had to tell someone about it. I was so excited. Come here. And he gives me a hug and he goes, it's so good to see you again. So I looked at him and I said, so how did it work out for you? And he laughed and he couldn't believe it. And then I said, can I get a photograph with you? And he goes, absolutely. And he goes, can my wife as well? I said, she's, obviously a huge fan of yours. And he goes, come on. And he picks up Krista in his arms like that. And we got this picture of him just standing there with the long hair. And I thought, this is a guy who really deserved the success because
a nice guy.